Welcome to the 2023 open enrollment for Valor Oil. My name is Brian Burgess with Houchins Insurance Group, and we work with Valor to put your benefits package together each year. So this video is twofold. We're going to go over this as part of the open enrollment session, and also this will be used for new hires. So if you're new to the Valor Oil team, welcome to the team. We're excited to have you on board, and we're going to just kind of cover all the benefits available through Valor Oil. So with that, today we're going to go over the medical benefit. For those of you in open enrollment, there's no carrier change. That's going to remain with Anthem this year. There's 3 plans to choose from. Just a slight change in the co-insurance is the only change in that plan for this plan year. A small increase in contributions, and we'll get to that in just a second. We're also going to talk a little bit about premium plan benchmarking and premium benchmarking for you, and kind of go from there. Dental and vision through Paramount Dental. The dental through Paramount Dental, no changes there. And then the vision plan is through Anthem Vision as well. Also available is life insurance, company paid life insurance and voluntary life insurance for you to choose from. And then also we offer some products, long-term disability through Anthem, as well as some products through Aflac for you to look at. The enrollment process, if you're in your open enrollment window, it is considered a passive enrollment. So if you're happy with your benefits, that just rolls over into the next plan year. You don't have to make any changes, with one exception on the flexible spending account, and we'll talk about that in just a second for you. Open enrollment is open through Friday, July 7th. So you got about a week or so to make those changes if you need to log in to Employer Navigator and make those changes for you, okay? One thing we want to talk about is deductible. So within Valor Oil's plan, we use a product called the difference card. And the difference card is set up to pay a portion of your deductible. What happens in a lot of cases as employers get hit with a premium increase on their health insurance, a lot of employees will just keep bumping that deductible up and keep bumping that out-of-pocket up on their health plan, which ends up being your employees end up having a health plan that they feel like they can't use, or they can't afford to use that deductible, those type of things. So that's why we use the difference card. And this graph kind of shows what we're talking about here. On the left side of the screen, you see your Valor Oil deductible for this current plan year is at $1,670, $1,670 for individual, and family is at $3,340. These are other benchmarking, other companies of the same size, companies within the region of the country, and also manufacturing. You see their median or benchmark deductibles are ranging from $2,000 to $2,500. So, give you an example, that's how Valor's deductible is much lower, and especially when it comes to the family piece being a lot lower as well. Also on out-of-pocket, one of the things, your out-of-pocket maximum is the maximum exposure you have if you were to have the big ticket items out there. So the Valor Oil out-of-pocket under the core plan, that middle-of-the-road plan right now is $1,920, and the family out-of-pocket is $3,590. Comparatively, you see how that runs. Basically, on all other benchmarks we're looking at, that is usually a $5,000 out-of-pocket maximum for individual, or $10,000 for family coverage. So as you can see, the Valor max out-of-pocket under your all's health plan is quite a bit lower, and that's a product of using that difference card, because we're truly in a deductible share. So yeah, you've got a deductible with Anthem. Valor pays a large portion of deductible, and then you pay the remaining portion depending on which plan you choose from. So it is truly a deductible split, and again, that is a product of trying to keep your out-of-pocket costs as low as possible, so when you do need your health insurance, it's available to you and it's an affordable level. Also on premium, this chart shows the cost comparison. On the employee-only contribution, Valor pays about 85% of the cost, and you all pay through payroll deduction, pay 15%. Our benchmarking numbers here basically work out to be 75-25. So in general, Valor pays about 10% more than average employer, and you all as an employees pay 10% less when it comes to that employee-only premium out there. So another sidebar when it comes to premium costs, one of the things that gets really costly is trying to cover families. When you have to purchase family coverage through any employer plan, it can get really costly. So as a side note, if previously, up until this year, if you're on the Valor plan, but your spouse and kids need to find coverage, they would not be eligible for a subsidy out in the exchange market because you had affordable coverage through Valor. That's changed in 2023. In 2023, if I'm on the Valor plan, but my spouse and kids need to find coverage elsewhere, so the Valor plan is unaffordable, if that premium rate is above 9.21% of our household income, then potentially my family could go to the exchange market, get a subsidy, and get a much lower premium on the family rate outside of the company. So I would still keep my plan through Valor, but my spouse and children may be able to find more affordable coverage through the exchange market. So that's a pretty big deal when it comes to, especially if you have a one-income household, that could be a pretty significant price difference. Or you have a larger family, you have 2, 3, 4 kids that you're needing to insure. That really makes a difference when it comes to that subsidized level out in the exchange market. So just as a side note, take a look at that if that applies to you and you need to find more affordable coverage for your family members out there. So with that, we're going to kind of go into the medical benefit. You all's plan year runs July 1st through the end of June each year. So that's why we're having this video now, and open enrollment is going on currently. Keep in mind your deductible runs January through December. So even though you may make a plan change here in July, that deductible still runs January through December for you, okay? That's important to know. So if you get close to the end of the year and you've already met your deductible, and you may try to get as much done before the end of the year if possible. And then adverse to that is true too, because if you get to the end of the year and you have not met your deductible and it's something that can wait till January, you'd want to do that. You definitely don't want to pay a deductible in December and then turn around and have follow-up care hit you for another deductible in January, which you want to try to prevent if at all possible out there. So keep in mind, we're going to continue using Anthem, the Anthem network, which is broad coverage for all the employees, no matter what location you're at. And we will continue doing the deductible split using the difference card, and we'll get to kind of dive into the plans and talk about how that works. So in Central, as we mentioned, you've got 3 plans to choose from. The most expensive plan is called our buy-up plan. That gives you the lowest out-of-pocket cost. That's a $2,125 max out-of-pocket per person. The core plan, kind of right in the middle of the road, that is $2,710 max out-of-pocket per family member on that. And then what we call the HRA plan is truly a 50-50 split of that deductible. Valor pays 50% of that deductible, and you pay 50% of that deductible as well. So, and then that out of pocket is $3,075. So, kind of look at the plans. The buy-up plan, the one change this year is currently the buy-up plan is 80-20 split. So you've got a deductible of $6,150. Today, Valor pays 80% of that, and then you will pay 20% of that. Going into next year, starting 7/1 of 2023, that changes slightly to Valor pays 70% of that deductible, and you pay 30%. So of that $6,150 deductible, Valor would pay $4,305 of it, and you would pay $1,845 per person under that plan. So it's truly a deductible split. Valor pays a large portion of it, you pay the remaining portion of that deductible, and that goes for all services, from everything from minor office visits to prescriptions to major hospital stays. So it's truly a deductible split option for you. The core plan today is a 70-30 split. That is going to a 60-40 split. So you have the same deductible with Anthem, the $6,150 deductible. Of that, Valor is going to pay 60% of, which is $3,690, and then you would pay $2,460 of that deductible is what would be your cost share under that 60-40 split. Okay, and again, applies to all services straight across the board for you. Then we get to what we call the HRA plan. That's the least expensive plan available out there. Same scenario. You have the same $6,150 deductible with Anthem. Valor pays 50% of that, which is $3,075, and you would pay 50% of that, $3,075. So pretty easy scenario. They all have the same deductible from Anthem. Which plan you purchase depends on how much Valor pays of that and how much you pay of that plan design. Okay. Contributions. You see this includes your biweekly and weekly. Valor has 2 pay scales, or some employees are paid weekly and some employees are paid bi-weekly. It's the same amount. It just depends on how many checks you get in throughout the year. And you kind of look from left to right, you get the buyout plan starting at $85.07 biweekly or $42.54 weekly. The middle of the road plan is roughly about half that cost, is $44.03 biweekly or $22.02 on a weekly basis. And then on the HRA plan, that's a $37.08 biweekly cost, and then an $18.54 on a weekly basis. So you kind of see employee-only costs. If you need family coverage or spouse coverage or employed children, you see your costs listed on there, and that will be in your benefit guide as well to look at those. So let's back up a little bit and talk about how the plan works and how we're paying for that deductible for you. So go back and talk about the buyout plan. So with the difference card, the difference card itself, you will receive a MasterCard from the difference card on there. And what that is used to pay for your prescriptions. Okay, so when you go get a prescription paid, you're under this health plan, you're paying the allowable fee for that prescription. So you're paying the actual cost of that prescription. So in an easy example, if you go to pick up a prescription that costs $100, then you would swipe the difference card. That difference card would pay for 70% of the cost of that medicine. So in my example, it'd pay $70. Then you'd be left with the remaining 30%, or $30 in my example. You would pay that with your own, your personal funds, and then you get your prescription and move on. So you actually have a debit card that you would use at the pharmacy to swipe, and then pick up your prescriptions there. So you're paying 30%, and then Valor is through the difference card. Valor is paying that 70% under the buyout plan, the more expensive plan there. So how does that work when you go to the doctor's office? When you go to the doctor's office, let's say that the claim files, you have a procedure done, and let's say that procedure is $2,500, whatever it may be. Well, the provider is going to send that claim to Anthem. Anthem is going to reprice that claim, so it comes in at $2,500, and Anthem is going to reprice it. For easy math, let's just say it's a $1,000 claim, okay? That claim is going to be sent to the difference card. The difference card is going to look at it and say, okay, of that, Valor's portion is 70%. We're going to pay $700 of that $1,000. They'll send a check from Valor to the provider to pay their portion of that deductible for you. Then once that's processed, then that provider will send you a bill for the remaining balance. In my example of $1,000, then they would send you a bill of $300. And then you would pay that through your normal funds and so forth. So all that's designed to happen behind the scenes. The provider sends it to Anthem. Anthem sends it to the difference card. The difference card pays their portion, and you pay the remaining amount of that. So difference card in two ways. You swipe your card at the pharmacy. It's going to pay the percentage that Valor pays by swiping the card. You would pay the remaining amount out of your personal funds. Same thing on a medical bill, whatever the bill may be. That claim is sent to Anthem. They reprice it. They send that claim to the difference card. Difference card pays their portion, and then you're sent a bill for the remaining balance of that. Okay. In your packet, you've got numbers for the difference card and Anthem and Brenda in our office. If you have any questions, any issues along those lines, the best way to do it is if you have a high-cost item or you're talking to a provider about getting a procedure done, have them call the difference card, because the difference card understands what portion of the deductible that Valor is paying and what portion is your responsibility. If your provider just calls Anthem, all Anthem understands is that you have a $6,150 deductible out there. So it's very important to make sure your provider calls the difference card and gets the lowdown. Okay, you have, yes, there's a $6,150 deductible. However, their employer, Valor in this case, is paying a large percentage of that fee for that procedure. So if you have any issues with that, call the difference card first. If you still have any issues, call Brenda in our office. And again, those contact numbers are in your benefit guide as well. So a little bit different concept, but again, our goal is to always keep your costs as low as possible. And when you need your health plan, trying to keep that maximum, the deductible and your maximum out of pocket as low as possible. So hopefully you all see that as a really good benefit, especially looking back at the benchmarking numbers we started this conversation with. So next piece, we're going to go in and we're going to talk a little bit about a flexible spending account. Flexible spending account is just a money savings tool for you to set aside some money to pay your portion of that deductible. It can also be used for dental, vision expenses, as well as some over-the-counter items for you and your family members. So flexible spending account is a spending account used for medical, dental, and vision expenses for you and your family. So a good example of this is if you're worried about, hey, I don't know how I'm going to pay my 30% of the deductible, or 40%, depending on which plan you're on. Then you could open up the flexible spending account, set aside, hey, I want to put $2,000. You can put in up to $3,050. That's the max each year. It goes up a little bit each year. But whatever amount you decide, you pay for through payroll deduction. So $2,000 divided by however many paychecks you get, that's what comes out of your check. That is on a pre-tax basis. So you're at a minimum, you're paying all of your expenses with pre-tax money. Now, that plan year runs July, just like your health plan year runs 7/1 through 6/30. The only negative to the flexible spending account, it is the use it or lose it. So you've got till 6/30 of next year to use those funds, or you would potentially lose those funds if you don't use them in that plan year because of the tax benefit. You're required to spend it within that plan year. There is a rollover benefit for next year. That is, you can roll over up to $610 of it. So you want to spend that account down at least the $610 before the end of 6/30 of next year out there. So, in summary, who is the flexible spending account for? It's for those of us like myself that I know I'm going to spend a couple $1,000s every year on my health care. I'm going to probably max out that flexible spending account every year, so I've got those funds available. Because the biggest benefit to the flexible spending account is that money, whatever money you elect, is loaded on that same debit card, on the difference card that you carry. So it's available for you to spend right after 7/1 out there. So if you have expenses in mid-July or August, or something's coming up, you've got the availability to pay those funds through that flexible spending account. That's not really for, if you're not having a lot of prescription costs or not utilizing your plan very much, it's probably something you're not interested in, but it really marries well with your plan, because keep in mind, under your plan design with Anthem, you're paying the maximum cost for prescriptions. So some of those prescriptions, even though you're paying 30% of it or 40% or maybe 50%, depending on which plan you choose, some of those prescriptions can get pretty costly. It'd be easily spend a couple $100s on some of those name brand prescriptions. So if you're worried about that, or that pertains to you, then I would look at taking out the flexible spending account and again, adding those funds to your difference card account there. Now, this is the one piece that you do need to log in and re-enroll every year. So if you're in the open enrollment time frame, you need to log into Employee Navigate and elect your amount for next year. In there, we're not going to assume that you want the same amount in your flexible spending account for you, so do need you to log in and do that. So again, money savings tool if you want to take advantage of it. So with that, the rest of this will go speed up a little bit. Your dental plan is through Paramount Dental. That plan is a 150/50 plan. Simply what that means is, under that dental plan, everybody on the plan gets 2 cleanings a year and 1 set of x-rays at 100% coverage, no cost to you as long as you go to an in-network provider. It has a 50/50 coverage on minor and major services. That means the plan is going to cover 50% of the cost up to $1,000 per member there, and then you pay 50% as well. And it does have a child orthodontia benefit of $1,000 on there if you want to take advantage of that. The cost of that plan starts at 83 cents bi-weekly or 42 cents weekly for employee-only coverage. So really inexpensive premium. Valor is paying a pretty significant portion of that premium for you. And then family coverage is $27.13 or $13.56 weekly, depending on what pay scale you're on there. And then also, as always, as a reminder, if you need medical only, employee only medical or no medical, but you want family dental and family vision or whatever combination you need, you can elect that when you go through the open enrollment process, okay? Vision plan. A vision plan is really designed to help you pay for glasses or contacts. This plan is through Anthem. The annual eye exam with $10 copayment, that gets you your prescription updated for your glasses or contacts. Materials copayment on this plan is $25. For that $25, you get a $150 allowance on your contact lenses once a year every 12 months. Or lenses for your glasses, you pay $25. That's going to cover the basic lenses. Keep in mind, you can add scratch resistant transitions. You will pay a little bit more for those, but the $25 will cover the basic lens for you. And then you get a new pair of frames every 2 years, up to a $150 allowance under that plan. The cost of that starts at $2.99 bi-weekly or $1.49 weekly, up to $10.53 bi-weekly or $5.27 on a weekly basis. So again, pick and choose what you need, what coverage level you need there as well. Life insurance is through Anthem as well. Valor pays for all employees to have $25,000 worth of coverage. That does include AD&D, which is accidental death and dismemberment. So if you were to pass away in an accident, your beneficiary would receive double that. They'd receive $50,000. Always a good time of year to update your beneficiary within the system. So if you've had a life change, a marriage, divorce, maybe your children are now adult age, you want to name them as a beneficiary, it's a good time of year to look at doing that. Voluntary life is additional life insurance. This is 5-year age-banded term insurance, plain and simply the cheapest life insurance you can buy. For new hires coming in for the first time, there's a $100,000 guarantee issue or up to 5 times your salary. What does that guarantee issue mean? That means that if you're a new employee to Valor, if you elect life insurance in the initial enrollment period, you can get up to $100,000 guarantee issue, no medical questions asked. It's very important if you've got, like I'm type 2 diabetic myself, so it's hard for me to purchase life insurance outside of the company. I would either be rated up or declined. But if I'm a Valor employee, I could get $100,000 worth of coverage, no medical questions asked. So it's an important piece there. You can cover your spouse up to 50% of what you have. You cover children up to $10,000. You pay one price for as many children as you have, dependent age children that is. My rate example here is a 45-year-old employee could get up to $100,000 worth of coverage, and they would pay $27.50 per month, and that would be payroll deducted out of your check. So obviously, if you're a little bit older, you would pay more. If you're a little bit younger, you would pay less. And again, that goes up in cost every 5 years. So 35, 40, 45, 50, you will pay a little bit more as you get a little bit older, okay? Also available is voluntary long-term disability. This is designed to pay you 60% of your monthly pay if you're off work for 90 days or more. It will kick in after you've been off work for 90 days and pay you 60% of your paycheck up until you return to work or you reach Social Security retirement age, whatever that normal rate is at that time. How you calculate that is you take your monthly covered payroll. What is your monthly payroll amount? Divide that by 100, and then you look up your rate based upon your age. So you multiply that number times the rate, and that gives you a monthly premium, and then you would divide that either by 26, the annual premium, take the annual premium and divide that by 26 to 52 to get your payroll deduction on that. That's done for you inside the Employee Navigator system. So when you log in, it'll actually show you your monthly benefit amount. It'll show you how much it'll cost out of your check if you're interested in that coverage as well. Then available through Aflac, if for those of you that are in the Owensboro or Bowling Green offices, Garrett Keller is your Aflac contact. For those of you in the Northern Kentucky market or even Louisville market, then Mark Lamar is your Aflac contact. Their contact information is in your benefit guide for you. Probably the most important benefit that Aflac offers is a short-term disability policy. So this is protecting your paycheck if you get sick or injured and can't work. And again, you get to pick how quickly you want it to pick in. You get to pick either 3 or 6 months, how long you want it to last, and then what amount of money you can cover. A lot of people will cover, say, hey, if I get sick or injured, I know I've still got a mortgage payment, I've got a rent payment due, maybe a truck payment out there. So you want to at least cover that amount to get your bare essentials covered. And that's the purpose of a short-term disability policy as well. So very important. Again, things happen, accidents happen, illnesses happen. That's important. That's why we have a short-term disability policy. So a couple other policies to consider with Aflac. They have a hospital policy, which is designed to pay you up to $1,000 if you go into the hospital. Help you pay part of that deductible if that makes sense for you to take out. Also, an accident plan. Accident plan is designed to pay you money based upon an injury as a result of an accident. Such things as you cut yourself, have a laceration, have to get stitches, have to go to the emergency room. That policy will pay you money based upon that. If you have a sports injury, have to have a knee surgery or whatever the case may be, that plan is designed to pay you money. The idea is if you're involved in an accident, you're probably going to miss some work. You may have some medical bills. That money comes to you. You decide how to spend it. And then we have critical illness. This is a lump sum policy. You can do a $10,000 policy. And if you're diagnosed with heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal, or paralysis, or organ transplant, it would pay you that money upon that diagnosis. The idea is, hey, if you're diagnosed with one of those conditions and you're going to miss some work, you're going to have some medical bills coming in, you can use that money to help pay for that. Also, a cancer policy, one of the more popular policies with Aflac, is cancer is covered by your health plan. However, there's a lot of extra costs associated with cancer and treatment. There's an initial diagnosis benefit of anywhere from $5,000 or $2,000 to $5,000, depending on which plan you choose. So upon that diagnosis, you would receive that initial diagnosis benefit. And then there's benefits for you as you incur treatment, as you travel, and so forth. So that money comes to you. You decide how to spend that money, whether it's to help pay bills because you've missed work, or help pay your traveling expenses because of your traveling due to your treatment schedule, or whatever the case may be. So I think a lot of people have been impacted by cancer, and it can be very expensive, not only on the patient that is going through cancer, but also on the family members due to the length of care and so forth. So with that, we've covered about all the benefits. Just as a reminder, your open enrollment is open through next Friday, July 7th. If you're a new hire to the company, you've got 30 days within your effective date. So once you're eligible for benefits, you got 30 days to enroll. You just go into the Employee Navigator system and make your elections there. And then if you needed to take out the Aflac coverage, you would contact your Aflac rep as well. Changes can be made in Employee Navigator. So in your packet, you'll have instructions to how you log into Employee Navigator. If you need to reset your password, there's a quick link there. You reset that, it sends you an email, and you reset it pretty quickly for you as well. And then just as a reminder, during open enrollment, that's the only time of the year you can make changes. Outside of this, you have to have a qualifying event: marriage, divorce, birth of a child, maybe your spouse loses their job and they need to come on the plan here at Valor. Those are all qualifying events, and there you have a 30-day window if you have one of those qualifying events to make changes to your benefits and so forth. So all that, then your new payroll deductions will become effective the first pay cycle in July for you. So be looking for that. We do ask you that you check that payroll, check that pay stub for you, and make sure everything looks correct. Make sure it's exactly what you think it is. If not, please contact HR and we can address it on the front end and address it right away. So with that being said, thanks for your time. A lot of benefits here to consider at Valor. Again, if you're new hire to the team, welcome. We're excited to have you on board. Valor is a great company offering great benefits, and it's a really tremendous company to work for. If you're an existing employee going through your open enrollment period, if you have any questions, look on that benefit guide on the back of that. Is all of the contact information. Brenda Evans in the Owensboro office is the main contact if you're having issues or you don't understand how the difference card works, or you need an ID card, you need a new difference card, whatever the case may be, contact Brenda and she'll be able to help you out with that. So that being said, thanks for your time. God bless.